Hey guys, this is Buford with the Soccer Parent Lifestyle, and today we have a very special guest. She's a young lady, full disclosure, she plays for our club, our home club. She plays for North Carolina Courage. You probably heard of their NWSL team. She plays for the academy there, part of NCFC, and her name is McKenzie Geigle. And McKenzie, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right. Well, let's get things first out of the way. Where did you commit to playing soccer next year?
I committed to the University of Louisville.
University of Louisville. Yes. D1.
Yes.
Yes.
For
Okay.
sure.
Atlantic Coast Conference. Love to hear. All right. And what was it about Louisville that attracted you there?
Oh my gosh. There's so many factors that went into it. Like, I loved the coaching staff because Hunter is the assistant coach and he was the first person to reach out to me, and he made sure to give me all the information that I needed, and he was very good at communicating what he thinks would appeal to me in the college, and it was very effective, clearly, with what his strategy was. And when I went to the campus for the first time, it just felt kind of like where I wanted to be, and where I think it's a lot of times people talk about that is when you find the school that you know you want to go to, it just clicks. And that's exactly how I felt when I got to go there for the first time. I just knew that's where I really wanted to go. If I got the choice, that's where I would pick. And on top of that, I loved the playing style that they had. And I think a lot of people don't look into that as much when they're first looking at schools, but they have a very attacking mindset when it comes to playing. And as a center forward, it was very appealing to me, and I loved that they did a high press because that's what I tried to do whenever we have the opportunity. So that was a huge factor that went into it, as well as the fact as the head coach is her name is Karen Ferguson Days, and I love the fact that she's a female head coach because she's very empowering of her athletes, and she's very understanding as well, and she's just an overall fantastic coach.
Awesome. Okay, now you mentioned feeling at home at Louisville. Did you have other offers?
Yes, I did. I was talking to a few other schools and had a few other offers. So my second choice that I was really looking at was Virginia Tech, which beautiful school, very talented program as well. It just wasn't what I was really looking for. I think playing wise, coaching staff wise, they were great coaches, fantastic people. It was just their style of play wasn't what suited me the best. And they had a beautiful campus too. But another thing I took into account is Blacksburg isn't a big area. It's very it's kind of isolated within the mountains. And I liked that Louisville was a big city that had a lot of connections to other places as well.
Okay. Now tell me a little bit about playing for the Courage Academy.
So
how did that prepare you for college?
So I've been with the club since it was Castle, since I've been, I believe, 9 years old. So I've kind of grown up with the program.
Yes.
And back when it was the Castle ECNL, and then when we switched over to the GDA, when we combined Castle and TFC, was when I first started playing for what's now is the NC Courage. And I think this coaching staff has been instrumental in helping us be who we are and get to the level that we want to play at. And I could not have done it without them. They were so good at communicating with the college coaches and with me, especially when I wasn't able to directly speak to them. They were very efficient with that and were very good. They were very complimentary of us and made sure we were seen. That's why we went to a lot of showcases. I believe it was Denver. I was in Denver for when I actually committed, because we had so many different showcases we went to. We went to Florida a lot, which I believe is when Louisville actually started talking to me. It was when they saw me and play in Florida, but we also went to California, and it was just, they made sure that we had the opportunities to be able to be seen for the girls that wanted to go play. And I think we also have such a wide variety of a coaching staff that they all specialize in something different. And so we were so well-rounded when it came to showing off what we're good at, especially going to ID camps. And we focused a lot on technical, which I think a lot of clubs don't do. So when it came to being able to show off our technical, that was something that made us stand out from the rest that I think was very impactful that we had with the courage.
All right. So when did you start recruiting? I know for women it's a little earlier than the men's side because obviously women mature earlier. Having a 17-year-old son, I can tell you that's definitely the case. So when did you start the recruiting process?
So I started my recruiting process in 8th grade, and this was 2018, I believe, and that was because my team was mostly freshmen in high school at this point, which is usually the normal time to start recruiting. But because I was on the 03 age group, and I have a really late 03 birthday, so I was a year younger when it came to school. And so I started in 8th grade, which kind of made recruiting a little difficult because when I'm putting 2022 as my graduation year, they're not going to be opening a lot of those emails.
Yes.
So that was kind of a little difficult to start with, but I think in the long run, it was pretty helpful for me to at least get used to writing the emails and knowing what I needed to get done and who would be good places. And it let me start looking at colleges I was wanting to possibly go to at that point.
Okay. Approximately how many colleges would you say that you reached out to?
Oh man, I think for emails, starting off, I would say I probably emailed 30 colleges to start out with, just to try to get the conversation going and looking where I'm going. And then when it came to like phone calls and later on in my recruitment process, I think it was Old Dominion, Elon, VCU, NC State, Mississippi State, Virginia Tech, Louisville, and Wake Forest were the schools that I was constantly talking with because I had to cut it down a bit. And
Yes.
so I think that's important to start pretty broad and to look at different conferences too, to see what where everywhere has to offer and what you think fits you best. And so then after that, I was talking on the phone with those schools every 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes a little longer in between, depending on how our schedules were going, just to make sure we're kind of on the same page.
Okay. Now you mentioned going to showcases nationwide.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was a sacrifice for your parents as far as time and effort.
Oh, for sure.
Talk a little bit about how they helped your career.
Oh my gosh, they have been my biggest supporters forever. Like I can't, because they were sending me off on the bus back when I was like in 7th grade, sending me on a bus to go to Maryland. That's a lot of trust that they put in me to be able to go and do that. And so I'm so thankful for all like the time and money that they've spent and just the constant support that they've had, because it was not cheap, obviously, but like plane rides just to go to play 2 games on a weekend, like
Yes,
it's a huge sacrifice for them to be making, especially because I'm one of 4 daughters and all of us played sports. And so I'm so grateful that I was able to have that time, a little bit of time put aside for me to be able to continue to do what I love at the highest level I can.
Okay. Now you mentioned you're a center forward. Have the Louisville coaches talked to you about where you may be playing there?
Yeah, they have a bit, and it's kind of interesting because before the recruiting process, so in 2018 was actually when I started playing center forward. I was a midfielder. Before that, I played the 10 and sometimes the 8. Like that was my primary position, loved it. And then both of our center forwards got injured, so they just moved me a line further up, and that's when I was getting recruited as. And it was kind of funny because the coach that recruited me, Hunter, had like notes about how he thought I played, and the head coach knew just from his notes that I was not a true center forward. I actually came from playing midfield. Like she was able to tell based off of like how I played that I'm really a midfielder. And so they've kind of talked about it, and they just think they'll put me where they see fit. They have me down as a forward/midfielder, but I can usually play anywhere I can play wing. They said that they might put me as a wing or striker, but also possibly in the midfield. It kind of depends where they'll need me the most at a given time.
So that's good that you're willing to play whatever position.
Yeah.
It sure will get you on the field faster to be able to play anywhere. Do you have big expectations of a lot of playing time next year, or what are your thoughts on that?
I'm hoping to get at least some playing time, especially knowing that some girls did stay back because of what happened with COVID. They're able to redshirt an extra year, and there's also 11 girls in my class, which is pretty big for a standard class size. But we also will have, I believe, 28 or 29 on the roster for when I go.
Yes.
So I'm hoping to at least get some time in, maybe to at least get some experience and show that like what I have to offer, and hopefully that she'll see that I have that I have a lot to offer for what they need. Especially, I'm hoping that I'll be able to get some playing time in.
Okay. Well, I know you have the busy schedule of traveling and the academics. Talk a little bit about how you had to manage your time in order to get where you're going.
Yeah, time management has definitely been something I struggle with a lot because I'm a very big procrastinator. And so my freshman and sophomore year, I did go to the school called Franklin Academy, which was a charter school. And it was really, really hard to manage that with playing soccer, because I know everybody goes through like 7 classes that you have to just stay on top of, but it was so difficult to be able to do that while traveling and making sure I'm able to get things done, because I missed a lot of Fridays because Fridays are our travel days. And so that's a lot of times the days we do quizzes and tests. And so then I have to figure out how to make that up. And then showcases take up full weeks. So then I'll miss weeks at a time and then have to figure out how to catch up while still doing soccer. And so I think just going to Flex was huge for me because I was able to bring my work on the road with me. I could do it whenever I wanted. I was able to be ahead whenever I wanted. And so I think another thing was just time blocking my day. It was, okay, get this done, then have lunch, get this done, go to practice, and then I just have this chunk of work left after that. And so I was trying to make things seem less intimidating for me, which is also why I procrastinate, because if something looks like I don't want to do it, or if it's too much, I just don't do it. And so I kind of have to break things up in my day, so it's just less worrisome for me.
Okay, and final question. What advice would you have for 23s and 24s coming up behind you in order for them to be able to get where you've gotten?
I would just say, I know I hated hearing this when I was getting recruited, but trust the process, because it really is all about making sure you just need to do what you need to do and it will come eventually. I think also sometimes we try to force ourselves into like colleges and places where we aren't necessarily the right fit for it, because I think if a college isn't like reaching out to you back, it doesn't necessarily mean you're not good enough. It just means you aren't the right fit that they're looking for, because that's another thing. What I was mentioning before is a lot of people don't look at the style of play that a college plays.
Yes.
So if you don't necessarily fit what they're looking for, they're probably not going to reach out. It doesn't mean that you're not good. It just means that you're not the fit for this college. And there's so many colleges out there that would be perfect for you. You just need to look out for them and be able to and just keep in contact with them. And being able to have a conversation with the people who are recruiting you is so important, and getting to know them further than just on a soccer basis, getting to know them because that's Hunter was great, because he was just very interested on what I was interested in outside of soccer, like what other things I did, and make sure you are knowing them as a person and not just a coach. All
right. Well, that is awesome advice. And McKenzie, I know you got things to do, better things to do than talk with no man here on a Friday night. But I certainly appreciate you helping us out. I think the parents and players will get a lot of good gold nuggets from what you taught us. And final thing is, tell your mother I say hello.
I will.
We talk a lot on Facebook, and I've never met her, but we talk a lot, and tell her I said hello, and good luck to you. I'll be following you. Like I told you earlier, I'll pull for you every game except for one.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and go Cards.
Yes. Go Cards.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.